All right, next up, Russell and Sarah are, you're going to talk to us about the discussion on criteria for adding and naming WSB Apex Awards. Suggestions. The Pickett Award would be
We were just going to rename
wonderful.
them all.
Okay, I like that. Do I have a motion? Go ahead.
So a little background for this discussion on first read about adopting a set of guidelines or criteria for either renaming or adding Apex Awards. Dan Clark and others suggested to the Apex Committee that the Award of Merit, which is our highest award, be renamed the Chief Justice Mary Fairhurst Award of Merit. The committee took that recommendation. We absolutely agree that Chief Justice Fairhurst embodies the Award of Merit. She was a prior recipient of the award, obviously a prior president of the board and Chief Justice. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to go back and look at how awards have been named in the past and make sure to do this in a way that is going to provide for some consistency. We award up to 12 different awards at Apex. 4 of them are currently named after individuals. 8 of them are unnamed. I believe it was last year or the year before, the Excellence in Diversity Award was renamed after Justice C.Z. Smith. I think at that time there was some conversation about how appropriate the process was to rename that award. And we wanted to eliminate any controversy in the process. And so what we wanted to do was have a set of guiding principles that the board would adopt that would govern renaming an award in the future. And ideally, the discussion about these guiding principles is separate from the discussion about who it is that we're renaming the award. The committee absolutely believes that Justice Fairhurst is really embodies the Award of Merit. And so after the C.Z. Smith Award was renamed, WSBA staff created 2 different documents. These have not been seen by the board and certainly not been adopted by the board, and we're not bound by them, but they give us something to consider on first read. They're in the materials beginning at page 260. And in terms of naming an award, the discussion points here are, and this is phrased as an individual must, so these are phrased as sort of requirements, that the individual, 1, be deceased, be non-decisive, be a legal giant in the legal community, and have a personal story that inspires philanthropy and relates to the award. With respect to Justice Fairhurst, clearly she is not deceased, so that would be a problem in adopting this criteria and then renaming the award after Justice Fairhurst at this time. That's not to say we couldn't make an exception. That's not to say we couldn't rename it anyway. But what we want to do is get input from the board on first read about whether these are criteria that you would like to see for renaming an award. In my opinion, those criteria are the most important part. The document goes on to name some procedures, and this is, I think, more of a gray area. One of the procedures is that it shouldn't be done less than 9 months before the award is given. I don't think there's anything magic about that time period. Obviously, we do want to avoid being too quick deciding, but I'm not too concerned about the time period. The procedures also suggest that it passed by a 75% vote of the committee members. I'm not sure why that's recommended, but that's one of the procedures. I think ultimately a simple majority of the BOG is really one of the most important things. Together with the criteria for naming an award, we also wanted to discuss criteria for adding an award. And I would note that there's really no criteria for subtracting an award. This year, as the committee does every year, the committee can elect not to give an award in a certain category. Who we're recommending receive the awards is on the consent agenda today. There's one category which the committee is recommending that no award be given this year. But in terms of adding an award, the proposals are also in the material. And a little background here, I think the World Peace Through Law section had approached Kyle Schicchetti some time ago wanting to create an award. We want to balance multiple things here. We want to give all of our members in our sections a sense of ownership and being willing to participate in the process. Obviously, we can't give 29 awards. That would take a long time. So we need to balance that against the time and the cost and a number of other factors. But those criteria for adding an award are also listed in the materials. And I think that what would be really the best procedure here is to have some discussion if anyone has comments on it today, ultimately propose a written set of criteria that we can adopt at the next meeting, and then I think that criteria is separate from whether the award of merit is renamed at this time. And I think also a guiding principle can be a suggestion that doesn't have to be a shall, and we could make an exception on some of the criteria. So if there are any questions about this criteria or renaming this award, let me know.
Thanks, Russell. Questions on the renaming the award? PJ, and then Alec.
On page 262, you have a procedure for naming an Apex award. It's really for naming or removing or retiring. And I don't think you have any language in there that would let the committee by itself on its own initiative suggest retiring or adding an award, and I think that would be appropriate. And the other thing that I would do is on making someone deceased, I'd make that a favorable criteria but not a mandatory criteria.
Thanks, PJ. Alec?
Okay, so I know in the committee, so my concern was bringing up this rule when the question was also in front of us regarding renaming the award of merit. And so what I would really want to do is, I agree to this, but not as it relates to the question of the award of merit at this time. And I've said to you a few times, and actually it was brought to me, and I agree, in the instance of the chief that we're considering, there is something to be said for allowing people to smell the roses while they are with us, including being able to give that award while they are with us, all things being as they are right now. And so I would also agree that if we not make, I guess the category deceased, I'm almost of the opinion those should be the considerations as opposed to must statements, because there's always going to be there may be particular reasons why you would want to move in that direction and not then be handcuffed by, yes, but they're still with us.
Thanks, Alec. Carla, I've read your mind.
You did.
That is,
Bill.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, this may not be a good thing, Bill.
Go ahead.
We're starting to synchronize. Wait till
It could be a good thing.
wait till he starts bringing up
She
Robert's Rules
looked
of
at me
Order.
and she was not saying it, but I sensed call on me. So, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Bill. I have a feeling that I'm going to say things that are not necessarily stated by people too often or may not be as politically correct as some. And what I mean by that is, first of all, the Apex Awards are something that most attorneys don't know about, don't care about. I'd never heard of them until I got on the Board of Governors last year, and until I actually attended the dinner, I had no clue what it was about. I think that so it's a lot of money for something that may or may not be of benefit to the rest of our members, and that's something a little bit apart from the criteria. I very much respect the criteria that have been proposed. I think that if we are going to do these awards, it's good to have some clear direction on how the committee should figure this stuff out. And I think that these are really thoughtful, and I certainly appreciate Russell's presentation and the work the committee's done. So assuming we're continuing it, these look like a good idea. But I'm concerned about the idea of naming awards for people who are still alive for two reasons. One, it may tend to suggest that we think the person is not going to be with us a lot longer, and so we are almost predicting their demise, which feels really weird to me. And I don't think it's what we mean, but I think it could easily be taken that way, because often people are not honored until they're at the point where we are fearing they're not going to be with us a lot longer. And the second thing is, it does create a lot of emotional potential issues with people as they're arguing about should this award be named after a person, living or deceased. And I've seen in occasions where streets, for example, have been named they were named after, say, an original pioneer, and then they're renamed after someone else. And the descendants of the original family are really upset because now their family is no longer being honored. They're being booted out in favor of the new person who's being honored. That is something I know we don't intend on the board, but it's a real consideration. So my suggestion is, honestly, that we don't name awards after people, that we just name them after criteria, areas that we consider are important to honor people in. And so I guess my only suggestion to the changes that are suggested is that we don't actually have people, living or deceased, attached to an award. Because what if 20 years from now there's a new Mary Fairhurst and we decide that no one remembers Mary Fairhurst and we want to name it after the new person, and now Mary Fairhurst family and descendants are upset, and we get into a political argument that we don't intend, when all we're trying to really do is honor a person for good works or good exemplification of being an attorney. So those are my comments, and I throw them out there knowing that not all of you will agree.
I did want to state that if you read the introduction, last year this was a big deal because I don't think anybody disagrees that C.Z. Smith is really deserving of an award. The real question last year was people felt very strongly about naming awards for people in general, right? And the evergreenness of it and the appeal of it, it feels really good in the moment, but what is it going to look like 10 years from now? And so again, I want to put all of this separate from the Chief Justice, who I think is extraordinary. The other thing that I would say from my experience, having named certain buildings and whatnot after people, I don't think this will happen with the Chief, but I do think you have to consider there is a lot, hopefully, of life left to go, and you don't know what that person may or may not do in those final times, right? What happens? And so, I'm trying to say it as PC as possible, that the person's sum total of life is not done yet, and who knows what that legacy might be. And so, and I kind of agree with Carla somewhat. Speaking for the awards committee, trying to figure out what it looks like to have the chief standing there and saying, okay, so you get to hand it to them. So I think she's extraordinary, but these are the thoughts we've been wrestling with. But to Carla's main point, if you read the opening introduction, last year I think we did express a preference to not name awards after people, and then we named an award after a person. So just things to grapple with.
Good comments. Any other questions or comments? I'm going to take out the concern part. We're not going to express concerns. Questions, comments, anybody? Blank stares. President-elect, just a couple things. These are little I'll put it out in my hand here just for consideration. There it is. One of the things as the president that you get to do that is absolutely wonderful is you get to give awards. There's a lot of things you get to do that aren't so wonderful. But I'm sort of an award guy. I believe in giving a lot of them, or more than we could ever give, because I believe they mark a significant point in time where we are telling specific individuals, you were here, you gave and contributed like crazy, and oh, you matter to us so much. And when you get the opportunity to do that, it really washes away some of the difficult stuff that you have to do, and you cherish it because you can look in people's eyes and you watch people tear up. You watch them actually communicate back to you the significance, not of the name of the award, but the fact that you recognize them. And I guess this goes to the entire board too, to remember whether you wrangle over whether we name something or don't name something, but the fact that we give these awards is significant because it matters to people. And when you get to call the Apex Award winners, and some of them, Carla, who don't even know what the Apex is, but you tell them it's a pinnacle award from our profession honoring you, and you listen to those people. Some of them cry. Some of them pour out absolute humility and thankfulness for being selected and wondering how on earth was this bestowed upon me. That drives home the point of why we do it. And so I just lift that up to say, remember that as you consider and wrangle around in the whether we name or don't name. And that's all. All right. Thanks. Anything else on this topic? I don't think there's an action item. Is there? Nope. Good report. Good things to consider. Next. Close that one down. All right. For now.